Okay, this video is going to be about Augusto's neighborhood. We're going to try to find out a little bit more about what's going on down here, because obviously there's always two sides to the story. We're at Betty's Pond Road. We're at the top of Betty's Pond Road. It's a dead end. And I'm just going to give you a little look at the neighborhood and, you know, just give you an idea of where we're at. Okay, office buildings, apartment buildings, and then across the street we have the Oyster Men coming into town, and the Cape Cod Melody Tent, and everybody knows where that is. And here's a quick shot of Betty's Pond Road from the top of the street. I have to keep my eyes open here because I don't want to. And down that road there's a neighborhood dispute. People are angry. And they possibly have a right to be angry. I'm not saying they don't. I'm trying to get both sides of the story. Hopefully I give you a little bit more perspective on this situation with Augusto and his dogs. So let's take a look. Okay, so here we are. We're down Betty's Pond Road. We're across the street from Augusto's house. This is where he keeps his dogs. I've spoken to neighbors. Some say they can hear barking, and I have footage of some of that, of the barking and things like that. It's mostly quiet when I've been here, but I'm not saying that there's not barking. I did speak with one neighbor. He said he sometimes hears barking at night. In his case, it doesn't keep him up. But anyways, I'm gonna give you a little bit more perspective on this property, where it's located. Okay, there's Augusto's fence, and let's take a look over at one of his direct neighbors. And this is his direct neighbor. Let me see if they're home. Maybe they were up there in that window there. According to Augusto, these neighbors are friendly. Of course, they're not alive. They're not of this world. Possibly ghosts. But no, this is the property right next to Augusto's. And if you look over here, it's a very popular auto repair shop. Yeah, down the street there. And then across the street over here, there's some apartments. A lot of good people live in those apartments. I will say, however, though, and this summer I have been over here for, you know, one stabbing. There was a stabbing, and there's been some, you know, the police come down here from time to time for fights and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's just possibly a small group of people in there that are having problems. And then you got, I'm assuming this is Betty's Pond down there. Okay, so just giving you more perspective, this is, again, Augusto's property right over here. And this is the house on the other side of him. Now, if you look down, all the way down the street, and I'm not going to go down there. I mean, people are still very upset, and it's not my, you know, I'm trying to get their side of the story, but of course they're fed up, and I mean, they possibly have a right to be. If you go down that street, the people down there do take good care of their lawns and their homes. You know, I've been here for a long time in this town. I don't remember a lot of the problems on Betty's Pond Road being down there. It's usually up near the top of the road here. Okay. Okay, so here's a look right into Augusto's yard, and there's a lot to cover, so I'm not going to be doing this in any particular order. But that's where the young puppies are kept, and you can hear them from the street when they're whimpering. You know, I was here the other day, and I'll try to insert that into this video. Just give you an idea. You can decide whether it's a neat property or a dirty one. I just had a chance to speak with one of his neighbors. He's a professional, and he owns a business. He says he does hear the goats, and the goats do disturb him. The thing about the goats is The town does have laws against the dogs. I don't know if there's laws specifically against goats. Now, is this one of these things where, there's a neighborhood dispute going on and, people are getting animals to kind of tick people off back and forth? I don't know yet. Again, I got to listen to both sides. There is also a concern from one of the neighbors that, since he feeds his dog raw meat, that he's possibly slaughtering the animals. And whenever you slaughter, this person knew how to slaughter animals, and it's from another part of the country. Whenever you slaughter animals, you have to dispose of the remains of the animal. And so if that's being done, if that is indeed a fact, is he putting it possibly down into the wetlands behind the house? Again, these are all different sides of the story and different allegations that are, as you see, are happening. This has become like a town-wide issue, this case, because a lot of people know Augusto from the street, and he's a very easy guy to talk to, and his dogs are friendly. And it's amazing what he does with the dogs. For some of us, some people will argue against that. Some people don't like the way he's raising his dogs. They don't like the way he's training his dogs, etc. So there's a whole web page on Facebook, and I'll try to be likes or members, and they're saying certain things. So there's a lot of people, that are putting a lot of energy into getting their side of the story out. I've been getting phone calls as well. I got a phone call from somebody who used to be a town councilor who's taking a side on this issue, and maybe he'll go on camera and tell. I'd be happy to put him on. I just don't want to get into too much more about that. But again, there's always different perspectives on this. Okay, this is the other side yard of Augusto's house, and I was just speaking. Like I said, I spoke with that neighbor. He's not quite ready to go on camera, but I hope somebody down here goes on camera to give their side of the story. I'd love that. I think my viewers would like to see the different perspectives. This is where Augusto's been raising goats. I will say that you can smell. I don't know if it's the goats or if it's the hay that's down there, but you can smell it. And depending on which way the wind's blowing, you can smell the goats. Okay, and you got them here. They're climbing. If you're a goat lover, it's great. If you're possibly living next door and trying to get up for work and they're waking you up, if that's the case, it's not so great. Okay, and this is the other side of the issue here. And there's that wetland that's way back in there. Again, this hasn't been proven one way or another, so I mean, if anybody has proof that he slaughters his animals to feed his dogs and puts it in the wetlands, I'd be happy to show that as well. What do you think, Mr. Goat? I'm gonna get an interview from Mr. Goat. Hey, Mr. Goat, what do you think? Yeah, you don't want to go on camera? What's the matter? Got something to hide? You got something to hide, Goat? Alright, I'm just trying to add a little bit of levity here. Whenever you have neighborhood disputes, emotions run high. I was down here the other night, and people were upset. Some people weren't being honest. I don't really want to get into that because I have video to the contrary of some of the things that were said. I'm trying to do my job down here. But I'm not really interested. If this takes a turn in the other direction, if that becomes necessary, we'll start talking about some dishonest statements made in my presence or when I was down here. But that's not really the story right now. The story is to give another perspective on the situation. I'm back over here showing you the goats for a reason. A neighbor of Augusto's just stopped by and gave some comments. There's they own goats themselves. They don't live right next to Augusto. They live down the street. but they, you know, came by and, you know, they, you know, given their side of the story. I think everybody that's you know been following this story agrees, though, you know, there's too many dogs, and you know and that's the law. That's apparently, you know, that's the law of the land. And if there's too many dogs, there's too many dogs. But we also talked about some other things with this last person here and stuff, and there's been people bringing up the issue of you know, a lot of different issues, from harassment to basically some instances, at least one in particular, of violence. And violence is never cool. That's never the way to go. People need to step back. It's a neighborhood dispute, and these neighborhood disputes, they do get like that. They do become violent. I've seen some very bad neighborhood disputes, but it's never ever is violence the option there. That just escalates things. You can get arrested. You get a lot of trouble. Now let me show you a little bit more about that. Oh wait, this goat wants to go on camera. What do you got to say, goat? Goat? Oh my goodness, you're trying to get a leaf or something. Alright. So Augusto's not the only person in the neighborhood who has goats. But, you know, to be fair, I mean, someone made a good point just a little while ago that, you know, if you live right next to the goats, you know, who wants to be woken up by a goat? Okay, so let me show you something else that you know, has been mentioned. There was an incident, I think it was back in June, and according to Augusto, about 5 people came in the middle of the night. And they were his neighbors from down the street, about 3 houses to 4 houses down. And there, you know, there was words exchanged. People were fed up and they were very angry, which, you know, people have a right to be angry. Okay, that's true. However, according to Augusto, and you know, I don't know if he has this on camera or not, but he says that one of the people down there, you know, kicked the door and caused this damage. You see the dented-in door, and I mean, that's not cool. I did also hear that the person that did this, you know, is generally, you know, not like that. You know, maybe at wit's end. You don't go kicking doors, though, people. You just don't do it. Okay, that's not cool. I don't know if the police are gonna pursue that some more now that, you know, this is being brought up again. But, you know, the other thing is, I think I spoke with Augusto recently, and I think he realizes that he's really working towards a farm, and right now his friends and people that know him are looking at ways of, you know, accommodating him and hoping, you know, maybe helping him find a place where he can go with his animals. And, you know, this isn't the worst neighborhood dispute I've seen, though. I'll tell you that right now. This is not the worst one. I've seen them far worse. So there's hope here, and I think once this gets resolved, and it looks like it's going to be resolved, you know, because I think Augusto's just going to pack up and leave, you know, and in that case, it's going to be a solution here. Okay, so I left the Betty's Pond neighborhood, and I'm looking down, and we're in front of Town Hall now. I'm just gonna throw a few other things into today's video. I'm looking at beautiful Town Hall, and we've got, in my opinion, one of the best town halls. We also have more public buildings than the Catholic Church, but that's a whole nother, I'm being sarcastic, but that's a whole nother maybe video discussion. Now, and up from the town hall you have this, I love this statue, this great statue of Chief Hyano. He died in 1623. He's sitting on this rock here. The name Hyannis comes from his name. Hyano, Hyannis. Over the years it became Hyannis. As we have disputes in town, I always look to some of these old figures historical figures, and I asked them, how would you handle this situation? Sometimes you get an answer. Depends how much imagination you have. Anyways, just in closing, another neighbor came up and did speak to me about Augusto's goats, and hopefully this will help dispel a rumor that's out there. It's about the slaughtering of animals for his dogs. Now, according to this neighborhood, according to this neighbor, sorry, he doesn't do that. He does feed his dogs raw meat. He does buy raw meat at the supermarket, and he does occasionally, I guess, he does buy meat. He does buy live animals to have slaughtered in off Cape in Bridgewater at a slaughterhouse there, again for his dogs. According to this neighbor, the goats that he does raise are considered milkers. They're used for milk. They aren't used. He doesn't slaughter his livestock. So that you know, again, that's a neighbor telling me that, and then you know there's another neighbor has suspicions about what might be happening with his animals and then whether they're being slaughtered and fed. And you know, maybe that information will help some people regarding that issue. Just want to put that in at the end. I might be going back to that neighborhood from time to time over the next couple weeks to get more insights on this issue. There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's, like I said, on the internet, when I put this up on the story up, within 24 hours I was up to nearly 46,000 views of this story, and you have people arguing from all different angles and sides, and there's issues here. There's, you know, one group of people putting up stuff about, you know, Augusto possibly being a male prostitute, things like that. Augusto kind of laughs at that. Like any young person these days, I don't agree with this, but young people put pictures of themselves on the internet, on Facebook, etc., in their underwear or in bikinis and whatnot. And it was funny. This is actually kind of humorous, but somebody was like going after and saying that, you know, he shouldn't do that, and I looked on that person's Facebook and she had the same pictures basically. So there's, I don't know, there's all kinds of stuff floating around and all kinds of talk and stuff like that. I think everybody needs to just chill out and just take a step back on this. The one thing I am concerned though, I am concerned about ongoing harassment. I don't like that. You know, I've heard of that, and you know, Augusto alleges that in his video, and that's why I played it. And then there's the allegations of you know, what was described as a mini riot when the neighbors kind of got fed up and landed in the driveway. And so that's something that, you know, that I'm sure there's two sides to that story as well. Okay, so that's it. I think everyone's just peace pipe. There's just one last thing I'd like to add about Hyano. I have an old history book dealing with the history of Barnstable in general, and apparently the first people that came across Hyano was out in the woods, and I think it was way over by like in the Sandwich area or Sandy Neck area. They came across them, and you know, this is like back in the 1600s, you know. So apparently they met him in the woods there, and you know, to sum it up, I guess he was a pretty cool guy. So I'm just throwing that in there too. All right, that's it.